There, King.
Yep, okay. Got it.
In business.
All right, at this time, the county attorney will actually read into the minutes the resolutions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have two resolutions, and I'm going to start with the volleyball resolution, and then I'll move directly to the basketball resolution, at which point, hopefully, council will approve both of them, or we can do them one at a time, whatever your pleasure is, Mr. Chairman.
We'll do them both simultaneously. So.
Okay. The first one is titled Resolution Congratulating Newberry Academy Girls Volleyball Team. Whereas the Newberry Academy girls volleyball team posted a 17-3 record on its way to capturing the SCISA Class A state championship, and whereas this is their first state championship, and whereas Newberry County wishes to recognize and commend the Newberry Academy girls volleyball team for this outstanding accomplishment. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Newberry County Council congratulates the Newberry Academy girls volleyball team and its members, Kaylee Cheeks, Madison Rivers, Caroline Sin, Allison Joyner, Bethany Sawyer, J-Lo Williams, Deja Taylor, London Higgins, Bailey Kynard, Cassie Gilliam, Chloe Cheeks, Jade Hughes, and along with Coach Travis Gilliam and assistant coaches Carla Gilliam, Jenny Sin, and Kate Cheeks. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be published in the official minutes of the Newberry County Council and a framed copy presented to the team. And it is so resolved this 21st day of April, 2021. The next resolution is a resolution congratulating the Newberry Academy girls basketball team. And just for council's information, anybody here who doesn't know the team, it's pretty much the same members for both teams, so that's why we're not having to step down. Whereas the Newberry Academy girls basketball team posted a 25-0 record on its way to capturing the SCISA Class A state championship, and whereas this is their first state championship, and whereas Newberry County wishes to recognize and commend the Newberry Academy girls basketball team for this outstanding accomplishment. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Newberry County Council congratulates the Newberry Academy girls basketball team and its members, Kaylee Cheeks, Madison Rivers, Caroline Sin, Allison Joyner, Bethany Sawyer, Jayla Williams, Deja Taylor, London Huggins, Bailey Kynard, and Cassie Gilliam, along with Coach Barry Kelzer and Assistant Coach Travis Gilliam. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall be published in the official minutes of the Newberry County Council and a framed copy presented to the team.
Mr. Hill?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to proudly offer a motion to accept this resolution. And what a wonderful thing it is that we've got all these young people in our community that have succeeded so well.
All right, we got a motion. We have a second. Motion by Mr. Hill, second by Mr. Reeder. Any discussion?
Outstanding achievement.
Yes.
Outstanding.
Absolutely.
Mr.
Chairman, just to clarify, it is actually two resolutions, Mr. Chip. It's one for the
And
volleyball,
I'll
one for basketball.
make a motion to accept both of them.
Okay, and you,
Yes.
second, okay. In discussion, I just want to say literally it is great to be behind such a great group of girls. But it's great to have y'all representing Newberry County. It's, again, parents standing around a wall, being a parent of an athlete at one time, and I guess still somewhat, but not playing actually. But thank y'all, because it is a commitment from parents to get them to and from and support coaches. Thank y'all, because again, coaching is a lot of hours with very little financial reward, but the rewards of seeing the success and the future growth of your students will supersede any money that you will ever get. So again, thank y'all for what y'all do to make it all happen. Again, collaboratively as parents, family, and students. This is what I like to see our world about is success. So, in reporting the positive. So again, thank y'all all. With that motion, with that second, all in favor? It is unanimous, and as I told y'all in the meeting room down there a while ago, thanks for putting Newberry on the map. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay. Hang on, let me come around and present. I didn't know we actually had them framed yet, so. Which coach wants to fight over this, so you want to do it coin toss? Okay, you got it. Let's see, let me make sure the 17 and 3? That's it, that's impressive. Thank you. Basketball, 25.
Oh,
25 and 0, that's great.
that's something.
Coach Locker came close to that, right? Thank y'all, parents, appreciate it.
Congratulations, Madison.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
Ronnie.
All right, while y'all are there, I think Mr. Senator Cromer and Representative Martin, Rick Martin, I was about to go wrong there.
You've known me all your life.
Yes, all my life.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the proudest moments on the State House floor is when I can rub other State House members' nose into the ground saying, my team won. And we really look forward to that. And I really, really did it this time. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want, I'm going to do something that a politician very seldom ever does, and I'm not be long-winded and just keep going on forever. But I just want to say, these young ladies fought a war. I mean, they fought battles beyond belief. And they won. They went against the best of the best. They are the best. And on behalf of myself and Senator Cromer, we would like to present you with this House resolution and congratulate you and honor you because you honor all of us, because you are champions. And for the rest of your lives, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, you can always say, that's right, I was a champion, I was on a championship team. And that's what you get to look forward to for the rest of your life, knowing that you are champions. Ladies and gentlemen, won't you stand with me and applaud our champions?
For those of you that did not know, Representative Martin and I also attended the 5 o'clock City of Newberry Council meeting, and we've already made one presentation. I was able to present a Senate resolution to the basketball team at that time, and both Rick and I had to apologize because we had not heard yet that the volleyball team had won the state championship also, so we owe them 2 resolutions. Thank you.
We didn't know.
All right. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you so
And
much. Congratulations again.
as y'all exit, I will say repeat next year, same place, same time.
Sounds good, sounds good.
Wonderful job.
Thank y'all. Again, parents, thank y'all.
Bless you.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Weiler said take him off. All right. Thank y'all. And thanks to the little siblings who have to travel behind
That's
them
right.
and
Drag
everything.
with them. That's right.
Absolutely.
That's tough business.
Yep. All right, if all meetings were that fun and exciting, that would be great. All right, next thing we're going to do are employee recognitions. Again, this is something council really gets excited about. And the longevity means that hopefully we're creating a workplace that's at least inviting for you to stick around and stay. So we have several tonight. One has actually got 30 years, so wow.
Question about her date of birth.
Huh?
Question about her date of birth.
Yeah. Taylor Turner, 5 years with the Veteran Affairs Office. Hell yeah. I guess that means we work 2 hours you can't do. Jackie Kennedy, Assessor's Office.
She's caught up in traffic.
Okay. Christopher Munson, 10 years with the Assessor's Office.
school together.
Deanna Wilbanks, seniors, I know I saw her here.
Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful person, been school resource officer,
Yes.
softball coach, all those kinds of things.
Volleyball coach.
Wonderful parent, spouse to that other guy down there.
That's right. That's right.
Again, thanks for all you do and have done. I can speak personally behind her because of all school district, if you don't mind. She actually worked with my kids, so. Janine Toby, 15 years clerk of court. Thank you for your dedicated commitment to Newberry County. It's great to have continuity in our offices when people come in and get the same face and the same information, so thank you so much. And then Beverly Brummer, 30 years with the clerk of court. 29 years old, 30 years of service. She was in real in the office, right? Thank you so much. Again, thank each and every one of you. Thanks to your family members who allow you to serve this county also. We appreciate you. Okay, tonight, due to it being a budget first reading, we've got two people on the public comments, which would typically be at the end. If it's okay with council, I'm going to go ahead and let the people who signed up for public comments speak, and then we will proceed with the meeting as it is scheduled. So, Mr. Tom Pope, if you'd come to the podium. Thank you.
I get to take this off, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm Tom Pope. I'm serving on the board of the Newberry Opera House. I've been on the board, counting the split in service when you rotate off, probably 12, 15 years. The Opera House means an awful lot to this community. It's a quality of life issue. I would remind you that the Opera House is a nonprofit. That means that we have to raise money. We raise it from individuals, from companies. We get some occasional grants, but 30% of our entire budget has to come from the generosity of folks like y'all. For years, the county council has been gracious in allocating $25,000 a year to help the Opera House. These funds come from the accommodations tax, and we think that the Opera House has a good bit to do with those revenues because we get tourism in here. It's very rewarding to go downtown sometime and see a car from Indiana, a car from Georgia, a car from Michigan, or wherever. And those folks are shopping, they're spending the night, they're going to the Opera House or whatever they're doing. But COVID has really turned the Opera House on a flip. And that's why this year is particularly critical, that we have that $25,000 restored. We're not asking for any more than that. That's been the customary amount allocated in the budget each year by council. And of course, it would require one of the council members to make a motion, another to second, and of course, an affirmative vote of at least 4 of y'all to do that. But I ask you on behalf of the Opera House, I give money to the Opera House. I've given money continuously since 1997 to the Opera House because it's that important. And we're not looking for, quote, a handout. We're looking for a help up the ladder because COVID, we got no revenue for 6 or 8 months when COVID hit. COVID, then the restrictions were lifted by the governor, and he said you can open, but you can open at 50% capacity. That was several months ago. We've been at 50% capacity. That means we have 50% of potential revenue. We've had, I don't know how many shows canceled by the performers who want to come later. They want to come next year. And so we've had maybe 15 shows this year. We normally would have had 60 by now. So we're feeling the effects of COVID. COVID has not affected my business, my law practice. Honestly, I can tell you that. I don't think it's affected most businesses, but it has affected restaurants, bars, and places where people gather. They don't want to gather. People are still a little bit nervous about COVID because look here, we got everybody masked up today because we want to be safe. We want to be careful. We only ask, please, on behalf of the Opera House, that you vote to restore the $25,000 that was not put in the budget by at the initial stages. It's not too late to help us. We're not looking for a handout. We're just looking for a little cooperation and help. You've always done it when we needed it, and we need it now very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pope.
Appreciate your feedback. And if it's okay, guys, I think what we'll do tonight is take this information and then take it for our work session Monday night and act on everything then, or how do y'all want to?
Unless, when we have first reading of the budget, we're going to have first reading tonight, right?
Right.
Well, at that time, you could have amendments to the budget.
That's right.
For any amendment that you want. So the budget can be amended, then we'd vote first reading with amendment at that time. That would be,
Okay, we can do it that way. I was just thinking we would, instead of doing all that, we'd do our first reading and then make the budget work session and and then come back with amendments on the second reading, but however y'all want to do it. All right, Ben Setzler. Newberry Water, County Water, and let's see, what is NSWCD? Yeah. I've heard enough people identify themselves over the week to.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so y'all have done a good job of getting people out. So
No question.
come to the podium and speak.
If there are any questions, I can run up there and answer them. Otherwise, I'm fine deferring until after the meeting.
Okay, everybody good?
Yes.
All right, and Mr. Weimer, you said just to take you off, am I correct? Right. Just want to make sure I'm right and.
We are, just from the Public Safety Committee, we are very, very close. I've got you a rough draft. I don't know if you've seen it yet or not, so I sent it back to you, so we should be very close.
And folks, part of that, again, is just to make sure that you get to speak before any action is taken on anything. So, item number 4, ordinance 030821, an ordinance permitting the Newberry County Joint Planning Commission and Newberry County Board of Zoning Appeals to conduct virtual electronic meetings permanently. Mr. Tothika, I don't think there's been any changes since reading 1 and 2, am I correct?
No, sir, no changes.
All right, with that being said, do we have a motion this be the third reading? Motion by Mr. Shealy, second by Mr. Johnson. Any discussion? Again, there's been no changes since the first or second reading. Any comments? All in favor? It is unanimous. All right. Item number 5, an ordinance authorizing the execution and delivery of a First Amendment to the fee in lieu of tax agreement by and among Newberry County, South Carolina, and Project Speed Racer 2 to provide for the extension of the investment period thereunder, the issuance of certain special source revenue credits, and other matters related thereto. This is the public hearing. Is there anybody from the public who wants to speak pro or con? And again, Mr. Tothika, I asked, there is no additional changes on that one, am I correct?
As far as I know, there's none.
Okay. All right. Hearing no one and seeing no one come forward to declare the public hearing closed, do we have a motion to be the third reading? Motion by Mr. Scurry, second by Mr. Reeder. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous. All right, ordinance number 041121, an ordinance to provide for the issuance of and sale of general obligation bonds of Newberry County, South Carolina, not exceeding $2,200,000 in aggregate principal amount to prescribe the purposes for which the proceeds of said bonds shall be expended, to provide for the payment of said bonds and other matters relating thereto. Mr. DeBose, would you like to come to the podium and speak to that right quick, and then we'll have the public hearing?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of council. I'm Theo DeBose from Columbia, the county's bond counsel. The ordinance you have in front of you is to authorize 2 bond issues, and in the aggregate, they can't exceed $2.2 million. The county has been using the program that's reflected in this ordinance for, I think, 10 years now. The county issues a bond each December and uses the proceeds of that bond to pay a series of lease purchase equipment leasing arrangements that the county's been issuing since 2011. It also pays an annual payment on your public works and animal control facility. So each year there's a payment on each of those contracts. They all come due on December 30th of each year. And so each year the county has issued a bond right before Christmas and applied that money immediately to those payments on those agreements. Then the bond is paid off the following April. So it's only outstanding for 4.5 or 5 months at most. Again, the county presently has 4 of these lease purchases outstanding that will require payment on December 30th, as well as the public works financing. The last lease agreement will have its final payment in December of 2025, and I think the public works agreement goes through 2028. Except for fiscal year 2014, the county has, in previous years, each December added another lease. This has been for mostly emergency and public safety equipment, fire trucks and ambulances, heart monitors and air packs and the like. Except for 2014, the county has taken on another lease arrangement as the one from the prior year has rolled off, but that's always council's purview in each year. Nonetheless, you do have these payments for the 4 existing agreements and the public works contract that need to be taken care of in December. And this will allow you to issue a bond for that purpose. And for the same purpose in the following fiscal year. We only ask you to do this every other year, just to keep your docket clear. Glad to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman.
Anybody got any questions for Mr. Theo? All right, Theo, as always, thanks for all your support and guidance. We appreciate it.
My pleasure, thank you.
All right, with that being said, anybody from the public to speak, pro or con? Okay, hearing none, we'll declare the public hearing closed. This is the second reading. Do we have a motion to speed a second reading? Motion by Mr. Hipp, second by Mr. Shealy. Any discussion from council members? Are we good with everything that Mr. DeBose said? All in favor? It is unanimous. Thanks. All right, this is the first reading one. Item number 7, ordinance
Before
number.
you read that, Mr. Chair,
Yes.
can I get a point of clarification? Are we gonna wait till the work session to make, if we have an amendment we'd like to make, or are we gonna do that tonight, just as a point of clarification?
Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman, I plan to propose an amendment tonight to reinstate the Newberry County Soil and Water Conservation.
As do I.
So, because if we make this amendment tonight, I won't get 1,000 emails and phone calls between now and our work session. I would like to go ahead and put this amendment to bed.
That's why I asked the question, because if we were gonna make amendments, that one was coming.
I'd like to go ahead and make an amendment to the Opera House as well.
Okay, well, we'll get that point. The reason I was saying not do them tonight is because we've got all the pieces of the puzzle and looked at all of them together.
That's why I wanted to
before.
do it.
So, I mean, that's kind of why I was suggesting that. I just don't like putting pieces of the puzzle together before we not know all the puzzles. But, you know, that's it's a 7-member council, whatever the wishes are. All right, item number 7, ordinance number 141221, an ordinance to provide appropriations for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2021 and ending on June 30th, 2022 for the Newberry County budget for county ordinary purposes and for other county purposes for which the county may levy a tax and receive revenues, to provide for the levy of taxes on all taxable personal and real property in Newberry County for all county purposes, including sufficient tax to pay the principal and interest on outstanding indebtedness of Newberry County payable during the fiscal year, to provide for matters relating to Newberry County, and to provide for the expenditure of said taxes and other revenues received by the county during the fiscal year, and to provide for the borrowing in anticipation of tax collections by the issuance of one or more tax anticipation notes if necessary. This is the first reading. Do we have a motion to be the first reading?
Yes.
Motion by Mr. Reader, second by Mr. Shealy. All right, any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is where I'd like to propose an amendment. I'd like to propose that we reinstate funding in the amount, the original amount that we've been funding in the past of $47,000, I believe, for the Newberry County Soil and Water Conservation District.
I think they do an incredible work from what I've learned about them, and I'm just pleased to support that. The only thing that I would ask, I'll be proudly second it, if you would add that they would make quarterly reports to the Finance Committee on their progress. I'd be more than happy. Ben has already agreed to that, and so if you wouldn't mind adding that, I'd be proud to second it.
Okay, And to that amendment, that they're expected to report to the Finance Committee quarterly on their progress and use of those funds.
Oh, yeah, for the first, till we get them back on their sheet for 1 year, be fine. I second that motion.
All right, we got a motion and a second on that addition. Any discussion on that particular addition? I guess we're going, proper to be, to adopt
Amendment
that.
first.
No, sir?
You'd vote on this amendment, and then if there's
Yes.
another amendment, and then if there's no more, you'd vote on the motion as amended.
All right, any discussion on that one? If so, if not, I've got some discussion on it for myself personally. I agree with everything that was said. I think y'all do a wonderful job, Ben. But as I said at the beginning of this, I still want to collect all the data. And as I told most all of you, I think that I'm very favorable of doing this. But I don't like knee-jerk decisions. I'd rather do it at the point when we have all the pieces of the puzzle together and then make that decision. So on that point, I'm going to be voting against it, but it's not because I'm voting against this program by any sense of the word. Yes?
There'll need to be an additional amendment to that because we also took out the revenue where they reimburse us back for the position. It will have to be added in as revenue and another $43,000, whatever the budget is. So it'd have to be an additional amendment to that.
Right after this one.
That's what
Okay.
Could we include it in this one while we're going, if he would amend his motion?
left up entirely to y'all.
Yeah.
I'm all for going ahead and putting this to bed in one step.
Yep.
I think they have always provided a valuable service. I've learned more about the services. I've always thought they've provided many valuable services, and I've learned much more. And based on everything I've learned, I think we get an excellent return for the investment to the Soil and Water Conservation District. I appreciate their work, and I think we should move forward with this.
You're amending to change the revenue stream
Yes.
as well.
Right.
And same thing, and I think we've had great conversations with several of you. I think there's a clear understanding. We expect some financial documentation along the way and all that, and they have clearly accepted that, and I want that to be upfront that that's expected.
I have one more question or two, if that's permissible. He was supposed to send some information on the data from other counties, and staff never received that. We were supposed to make a comparison for Mr. Hill.
We got
I received that. I'm sorry you didn't receive it, because
Yeah.
I received it.
I
I
think
think the other
all
council
got it, as a
members
matter
did,
of
so I'm sorry you did not get that.
Because we were supposed
But
to
it
do
was,
some financial analysis.
yeah, the information was provided. It was a breakdown of, I think there were only maybe 4 or 5 counties that did not provide their budget information. Otherwise, there was a comparison percentage-wise of revenues or budget by county for every county in the state.
And I would say that would also be an impact on our
got it.
farmers, as I understand this, because they couldn't get some of the reimbursement money from the federal government and some of those things. So this is, there's some wide sweeping effects. So having, you made an amendment to your motion, I second the amendment again.
All right, got a motion second. All right, now, any discussion?
You got one more question?
Oh, one more question, I'm sorry.
We were also supposed to be informed if the position was full-time or part-time.
On that issue, for discussion purposes, since we're discussing the amendment, I would prefer us funding the Soil and Water Conservation District as we have in the past, and let them take those funds and better manage it. Do they need a full-time? Do they need 2 part-times? You know, what is the best thing for them? I don't want us to mandate how their personnel will be.
The last question being, if it's part-time, are they going to be on our payroll?
Well, see, now that's, as far as I think that ought to be decided by them as to whether or not, you know, I think we ought to provide them the funding, and they decide what
I'm
personnel.
not disagreeing with you, I'm just asking.
Yeah, I'm just, yeah, that's what I'm.
Are they going to be on our payroll, or are they expecting benefits?
I would think that's up, we give them the money. And, yes, Ben?
I understand.
Come up here, Ben, please.
You tried not to come, but you had to
I was
anyway.
going to defer till
Yes.
afterwards. Yeah, I can answer any questions real quick. Which question y'all want first? First off, the information on how Newberry compares to other counties, the way I understood it is Mr. Hipp requested it, and so I sent it to him and the rest of the council, but there you go. As to the full-time or part-time thing, thank you so much. We would appreciate the chance to manage our own staff as we see fit. That being said, we are at this point planning on going back to a full-time position and hopefully adding another part-time position at some point. What other question? If we don't do, like I said, the plan now is to go full-time, but let's pretend we don't. If it's under 30 hours, then of course, that not being allowable, we don't expect benefits for under 30 hours. Should, for some reason, we decide to do a 30-hour employee, then we have not discussed that. I would assume the option would be on the table either way. But
at this
as I
point,
said, right now, we're looking at a 40-hour
At this point, you're
employee.
planning to leave it as if it's an employee of the county through our payroll, although it just looks that way. You're still expecting us to pay the employee with a
That
W-2.
suits the wishes of council. I think that's been working pretty well for the last, 20 years or so. If y'all want to look
I'm
at changing
asking
it
just so we
and
have
somehow moving things
clarification.
around, I think most of y'all kind of understand the reason we did that in the first place was just to take advantage of the county benefits program. When it very first started, there was an employee that came on that had already been an employee on that benefits system. So it made sense to continue that on for that employee. I would be open to discussion if
Mr.
y'all want to look at doing something different.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, since we're talking about budgeting and allocation of funds, I don't think we need to get into the detail of how those funds then are managed within the organization tonight. That seems to be something that,
All I'm asking is
Yeah.
about the payroll,
Yeah.
because it's specific, how
That-
we have them on there.
yeah, and that sounds to me like something that we can work out. If we approve the funding, y'all can work it out as you have in the past, or if you're at some impasse and need to come to council to get some guidance, but
Well, Mr. Johnson made the request that we come to a quarterly finance committee meeting and report on what we've got going on. I'm fully in support of that. I think that's a great idea. So if we need further discussion on that matter at that time, that may be a good time to do it.
Will that take place before or after the new year starts? Because I think they need it before the new year, need to know before the new year.
Need to know what now?
They won't need to know.
Oh, okay.
Has the employee been on the county benefits in the past?
Yes.
For
Only a-
roughly-ish 20
Only
years.
30 years or so, it was up until the employee, we did not pay anybody. And I might have to go back and pull her record to see when she came on board. But it was in the Ed Lominick years, I'd say back in the 70s and 80s.
And they've been on the payroll ever since?
They've been on the payroll ever since because at that particular time, it was a full-time employee.
Okay.
It was also deemed that at that time in the discussion that you would be able to attract a better employee with being able to give them benefits.
Absolutely.
And that has been an advantage to us to be able to offer those
Absolutely.
benefits. That's, as y'all know, is a pretty big selling point these
Need to
days.
add that to the amendment that.
I don't see I don't see that being part of the amendment. I think the amendment is to fund the organization, and those details can be resolved.
Okay, all right, we got a motion, we got a second. Any additional discussion? Again, that was part of the reason why, thanks, man, appreciate you, man.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
so for their purpose, do they need to know that this is going to be a position there?
that's pretty much what Ben just
Okay,
said, I
so
think.
you're going to have them on payroll?
You're gonna be full-time, we just got to hire a person.
Okay. You got what you need then?
Yeah,
Yeah, we didn't know we could hire without funding.
yeah. Okay, all right, we got a motion, we got a second. All in favor? All opposed? I'm opposing, not because I'm opposed to it, just because I believe in waiting to the end. And again, this discussion we'd have had now would have been at a work session versus whatever. So don't feel that I'm backing up on my word to all of you that I said I would go forward with it. It's just the timing is not where I wanted it to be, okay? Thank y'all again, and thanks for organizing a good, I guess, battle plan. So,
Really, really good one.
and as Les said, I'm pretty good, familiar with it, with being in the agricultural world too, but I did get some education that I didn't even know about. so.
Definitely did.
Know a whole lot more about it now.
Yeah.
All right, any additional motions to this? addition?
Yes, I'd like to make an amendment to give the $25,000 to the Opera House.
All right, we got a motion. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Scurry. Any discussion? Likewise, I will say I'm not going to support because I'd rather do it when we had a chance to have more discussion on it. So, all right, any discussion? All in favor?
I have to recuse myself, Mr. Chairman. I haven't participated in the debate or the vote because of my association with the Opera House.
All right. All opposed? I think we got it. I think one recused, one opposed, with that being me, last being the recusing, everybody else is in favor. Correct. So 5-1-1. All right. Now, with any additional amendments?
I have a question.
Yes.
Sorry. Currently, the budget is balanced as it was presented to you. You're adding approximately $72,000 worth of expenditures. At this point, are we to make amendments from moving the original amount of money for the soil and water from the collections department to soil and water as that portion? And where do you recommend, or do you have a recommendation for where the $25,000 for the Opera House is to come from?
Mr. Hill?
I think that's going to be done in our work session. As Betty mentioned, we're going to have a work session. Certainly, the soil and water conservation money was put into collections. The money's there. It's a reallocation of where it is.
That's true.
The Opera House is $25,000. We have contingency monies available. So that also would not affect the balanced budget if we took it from contingency.
That's true. But when you place the amendment, you're amending expenditures, you're increasing your expenditures, you're ending with an unbalanced budget because your amendment is not including the offsetting entries to make it a zero. So the amendment should actually, or there should be an amendment to balance the budget at this point, or you're leaving tonight with an unbalanced budget.
Then in that case, would it require, Jay, an amendment to balance the budget? Or could we say, since we passed these two amendments, when we have the budget for reading with amendments, at that time, could we indicate that the budget will be balanced? Or how would be best to handle that?
Usually, Mr. Hipp, the budget has to be balanced at the readings unless you choose to have an unbalanced budget. So by your action thus far, you haven't given first reading. But if you give first reading without allocating the revenues, then you're going to have an unbalanced budget.
Is that a problem until our work session?
I would say it is. I mean, I can't tell you that. I don't want to call Mr. DeBose up, but I can tell you that when I've been involved with budgets before and the rating agencies look at the process, I don't think they look kindly on an unbalanced budget, because you won't address this technically until, I suppose, the first meeting in May.
That's second reading.
Second reading.
May I ask this quick, because this is kind of different for me. If we make one allocation tonight and then change our mind in the work session, then we could do it even though we had it balanced as we left tonight, right? We could change our mind about how to balance it from there. Then, Mr. Chair, I'd make a motion that we take the money from the recycling over back into the collections over there, and that we take $25,000 for contingency fund to balance our budget before we leave tonight.
All right, do we have a motion? Do we have a second on
I'll
that?
second that.
Who seconded it?
I'll second that.
I think Les and Travis, you take the pick.
Les, I'm going to take Travis because I think with you being on the Opera House Board, you probably need to.
Okay, that sounds great.
Travis.
Yeah, Mr. Reader, second. Any discussion on that? All in favor of that motion? Aye? Or raise your hand. All right, I oppose it still because I still think we do it at that point. Les, I guess you're still recusing yourself on that particular motion, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right, 5-1-1. All right, this being the first reading, are there any additional amendments? Okay.
No additional amendments. Mr. Chair, I would recuse myself from any portions of this budget that deal specifically with WTH technology or law track, simply because of my relationship with them. The rest of the budget I'm fine with, but those particular areas, I'm recusing myself from those portions of the budget.
Okay. All right, hearing that, do we have a motion this be the first reading as amended? Motion by Mr. Hill, second by Mr. Reader. Any discussion? All in favor? You in favor? All right. It's 6-1, I oppose, okay, because of, again, what I stated earlier. Item number 8, ordinance 04-1321, an ordinance to provide for appropriation for fiscal year beginning July 1, 2021 and ending June 30th, 2022. The Newberry County Library, Piedmont Technical College, and the Newberry Agents for Disabilities and Special Needs to provide for the levy of taxes on all taxable personal and real estate properties in Newberry County for said purposes, to provide for the expenditure of said taxes and other revenues received by the county during the said fiscal year for said purposes. This is the first reading. Do we have a motion this be the first reading? Motion by Mr. Hill, second by Ms. Harrowwood. Any discussion? All in favor? It is unanimous. All right, considerations to approve Rogers and Calcutt for stormwater pollution prevention plan sampling and inspection for the Newberry County Airport. Crystal Waldrop, she's not here due to having emergency surgery yesterday, so I guess, okay.
I guess I'll have to do, sir.
You got it, my friend. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Mr.
Mike?
Chairman. This is a response for a request for proposal that was put out on February 2nd of this year for the stormwater pollution prevention plan at the airport. This is required by DHEC. These are engineering services that are required because we have a fuel facility out there. The proposal is not based on fee alone. There are several categories to include qualifications of the firm, understanding of the scope, cost of services, proposed schedule, and proximity to Newberry. Myself and Crystal Waldrop conducted the evaluation. Rogers and Calcutt were the highest ranked of 6 firms, and we're requesting to go ahead with Rogers and Calcutt for the sampling. We do have funds budgeted for this.
Okay, you've heard the explanation. What are the wishes of council? Do we want to approve this expenditure?
When you say we have funds approved, this is in the budget at this amount?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve Rogers and Calcutt?
I make a motion to
Motion
approve
by
Rogers
Mr.
and
Reader,
Calcutt.
second by Mr. Scurry. Any additional discussion?
I just had a quick question. You said it was a competitive bid on criteria. Where did they fit in the price range on this? Were they?
They were probably number 2 in price range.
2 from the bottom or 2 from the top?
From the bottom.
Okay, thank
Of the lower, on the lower end of the 6.
Gotcha. Okay. I like it. I like it. Okay, I just like to know those things.
Yes, sir.
So I think we got all in favor? Okay, it's unanimous. Executive session, do we need one, folks? Okay, appointments. Does anybody have any appointments tonight?
I do. I have
Yes, sir.
Mr. Randy Malloy, I would like to appoint to take Bill Floyd's position with DSS. Bill's been in that position for many, many, many years, has done an outstanding job, and he's ready to turn that position over to someone else, and I'd like to go ahead and make the appointment at this time, even though Bill's actual retirement date on that board is the end of June, I think. Mr. Malloy is a police officer with the city of Newberry. He's already been very involved with DSS. He goes over there on his own time. He's expended many hours, and he has a real enthusiasm for that work, and he knows how important it is. And I just think it's wonderful that he's willing to serve, and this will give him an opportunity. If we go ahead and approve it, he can attend those board meetings until Bill officially resigns.
No disrespect whatsoever, I believe you mean DDSN.
Pardon?
I believe you mean disability board,
Yes,
not
a
DSS.
disability.
Okay.
Yeah, I did say so.
No disrespect.
Absolutely.
and he's also a chaplain and does just an amazing job over there with the kids.
Yes.
And Bill Floyd has been a legend in that
Oh,
role.
yes.
He has
Oh,
done
yes.
everything anybody could possibly ask for, so.
He served Travis's memory well.
Absolutely, no doubt. All right, we have the motion. Is we have a second to support that one? Second by Mr. Shealy. Any discussion? All in favor of Randy Malloy? It is unanimous. Any other appointments?
I have one.
Okay, Mary?
I want to appoint Donald Stockman to the Water and Sewer Board. He's already been on the board and agreed to stay. So I make a motion that we,
Donald Stockman? Okay. All right, you heard the motion. Any discussion? Well, excuse me, second that last. Any discussion? All in favor? All right, it's unanimous. Any other appointments? Folks, those out there who don't understand, these appointments are volunteers, so we greatly appreciate the services they are willing to render, again, at no cost. So thank you, and thanks to those citizens that are willing to do that. Public comments, I think we've already hit all of those. Again, thank y'all for everything that y'all have done, said, and otherwise. Do you want to speak again, Ben?
I deferred, if you don't mind.
Yeah, come on up.
Ben talked to me almost halfway to Florence the other day on the phone, so he made the time pass by.
I guess first off, I'll apologize for not just me, but everybody taking up your time and email and phone and text and everything. I want to thank you all on this board, not just for reinstating the funding, but the process of going through this. Last week about this time, I was pretty upset, but what this has turned into is an example of how the legislative process should work. Constituents making phone calls, all of you taking the phone calls, returning the phone calls, returning the emails. This is how it should be. For that, I thank you. I appreciate the vote of confidence. As I've said to many of y'all throughout this process, we are an open door at all times. We had been planning to anyway, to start coming to a quarterly meeting before COVID hit. But I'm happy to have the opportunity to do that, not just the Finance Committee, but the general meetings. I'm happy that this has turned into an opportunity for us to show County Council what we've been doing. I wish we had done a better job of that beforehand, and we may have prevented y'all from getting 1 million phone calls. But we'll do a better job of that. Please come to our meetings anytime. Call any of the commissioners, myself, our staff at any time with any questions. That goes for y'all's staff too. Just want to thank you, and the door is always open.
Thank you, Ben.
And we appreciate the way you've handled this as well. We got some things to fix, and we're going to fix them. I love it. I love it.
All right, Dabo. Coach. You did a good job organizing your team.
Yes.
All right. Comments or requests from council members? Mr. Shealy?
No comment.
Mr. Hill?
If I'd have looked at this agenda tonight and said we're going to be out of here before 7, I would have never believed it. No other comment.
You haven't gotten to my comments yet. Ms. Arrowood?
we move on with progress.
All right. Mr. Johnson?
I'm just so thankful for this council. To say last week was the hardest week of my life thus far would be an understatement. And so for excusing me from the budget work session to 2 of you showing up for the homegoing services, to almost everyone calling or texting, and so many people off the staff called and text. And so in overwhelming grief, we found overwhelming love and support from the people of God. And so thank you for helping us get through this. We'll never get over it. Justin will always be part of our life, but we'll move on. And so I'm just thankful to each of you, especially Buddy and Mary, not to discount anybody's. All of you let me know you couldn't come, but that big old hug you gave me right after the service has just melted my heart. So I'm just grateful and thankful because relationships matter, and that was proof of it. So I'm just thankful.
I'll come back to a few comments. Mr. Scurry?
I want to apologize to you, Chairman. I think we overstepped our boundary going over your head tonight, telling you what to do.
I'm 1 of 7, my friend. I'm good with it.
No, that's not adequate. They tell us the budget not balanced. when we're going over your head, you were saying no and we were saying yes, it bothers me. I've been studying on this thing for the last hour, all last week. I've had calls from everyone about I want us to give everybody money, we have it appropriate for them. Well, I don't want to overstep our boundaries, and you were saying no and we were saying yes, and we are not together.
We're together. We're all right. Thank you.
But no, it's not all right. I don't want to put the county in a problem that we don't have the money on hand and we're spending it. And that's what we're doing. And you were saying we're going to study it. And they are saying it's not balanced. We could wait till the next work session and we could bounce it all out, your statement. Am I correct?
You're correct, but it's going to work.
But shouldn't we all follow the guidelines of positive thinking and go forward?
We'll be okay. Appreciate your comments. Mr. Reader?
Yes, all I want to say, I had someone send me an email concerning the money that was given out for the pandemic. And I saw so many names in there, people who was creating their own jobs just to get pandemic money. And I saw a lot of people in there who had legitimate businesses that did not receive money. Something has to be done. I mean, people cannot be greedy enough that they will create a job that does not exist just to get a few dollars. They will have to pay that money back. And I hope they're ready to pay it back. Because it's truly a shame that legitimate businesses can't get the money because of people making up jobs. Really, jobs from their home that you know does not exist. So I think we actually need to do a lot better with that when it comes to giving out money to people who actually need that money and not people who do not actually have a business to actually get the money.
All right, thank you. Okay, I guess down to my comments now. One, I just want to say, and stealing the words of one of our former House members, Walt McLeod, it's truly an honor to have Rick Martin and Ronnie Cromer here with us tonight for a meeting. We really appreciate it. I know y'all are always on demand in time, et cetera, but please come back anytime. Thank y'all for all y'all do to support Newberry County. Ronnie, I appreciate your call the other day and in conversation with you. Again, the longevity of you there has been a very, 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 very valuable asset to Newberry County, and I can't say enough about what y'all do for this county, and we appreciate your loyalty to trying to make things better for this county and easier on us. So,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate it. And that's a lot nicer comments when they go to Lexington County Council. They say, "What did we do wrong? What did you do?"
Well, we appreciate you. We appreciate you being born and bred here, Newberry County citizens, and again, we thank you for everything that y'all have done. For those of you who I talked to you, Mr. Pope, I came to your office and talked to you, and I told you I wasn't going to make no knee-jerk decision. I didn't flex tonight on making that knee-jerk decision. I wanted to let you know up front. To all of those who talked to me on the phone, which I see quite a few of you on the other edition, no doubt in my mind, I was still planning on supporting it. I just wanted to do it in a timely manner when we could have actually balanced out everything without a whole lot of amendments. But again, with that being said, we are a united front to try to make Newberry County a better place as a whole group of people sitting up here on this council, and we'll get there. Now, as far as tough decisions, this is a tough decision when you're dealing with the budget and trying to make sure everybody gets their piece of the pie, or at least what they want for a piece of the pie. But I did witness the other day a guy who will not have any tougher decision or tougher time than what he had the other day preaching his own grandchild's funeral, y'all. That was a touching, difficult, tear-jerking, heart-wrenching, come to Jesus sermon, and I really appreciate a man is able to do that, and it shows his integrity and his backbone to be able to get up there and do something like that. Todd, you won't have any more choices on this council that's any tougher than that one, my friend. So it was pretty amazing. With that being said, future meetings, budget work session on 4/26/21 at 6 p.m., Public Works and Planning Committee meeting on 5/3/21 at 6 p.m., and then the next county council meeting will be May 5th, 2021, 6 p.m. We're already almost halfway through the year, folks. All right. Les, it's 1 minute after 7, so I got my.
I knew it wouldn't happen.
I figured I could talk long enough. All right, with that being said, we have a motion to adjourn. We are adjourned.